This is how you solve a hard Sudoku puzzle. You solve it in the same way as the easy and medium ones in my earlier videos, with the exception of, with a hard one you need to look for pairs. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If you can find pairs of numbers in any box, or in any row, or in any column, it gives you information that helps you solve. So I'm going to start up and down. I'll start with 1. We have right, left, one of these in the middle has to be a 1. I don't know which it is, but I can see there's a 1 down here, so I know that one of these two squares is a 1, and now I'm off to a good start. 2, left, middle, right, that's filled in. 3, when I get to 3, I can see that there's no 3 in the top, so one of these two squares has to be a 3. And I look for pairs when I'm solving hard puzzles. So I'm going to write a 3 and a 3, and when they're together like this I like to draw a little circle around them. So there's 3, and when I look down here there's no information, not enough information. On to 4. When I look at 4, I can see there's a 4 in the top and the bottom. Since they're not connected, I'm not going to write them in yet, just because it gets cluttered. Later I'll write those in. There's no 4 down there. Okay, 5, middle. We don't have enough information to know where a 5 goes. 6, there's no information here, no information here. Up top though, here's a 6. These top two cannot be a 6. Since they can't be a 6, one of these is a 6. So I know that this is either a 3 or a 6, and this is either a 3 or a 6. So I'm going to erase the 3's that I had there. I'm going to write 3, 6 and circle it, and that's my little method of knowing. If it's circled, I know that in this particular square that's a 3 and that's a 6. Now the nice thing about that is now I only have 2 boxes that I don't know what they are, and I'm going to write in what they are right now because it's easy to find out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are a 4 or a 7, but right down here is a 4. That cannot be a 4. So the left box has to be a 4. If the left box is a 4, the middle one is a 7. And that's the trick to solving medium Sudoku puzzles. It's just a little more information. I'll start back again just at the beginning, just because something else might have come up. 1, 1, 1, nothing there. 2, 2, 2. 3 is the left 2, nope, no information. 4 is left, 4 is middle. One of these 3 is a 4, but I'm not going to write anything down because I don't have enough information. 5, middle, not enough information. 6 is the left, not enough information. 7 is middle. Okay, 8. Okay, 8 we have, if we look here, we have top, middle, bottom. So this bottom one has to be an 8. So I'm going to put the 8 in right here. Now I have 8 in the left, the right. One of these 3 has to be an 8. It can't be the bottom. It's got to be one of these top 2. I already know that these top 2 are going to be either a 1 or an 8. So I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to write in 1 and 8 and circle it. Now, and I'll look at 9, nothing for 9, not enough information. So, now here's another little trick I like to use on hard puzzles. Because this column, I already know that those are 1 and 8, I have 1, 2, 3 boxes that aren't filled. If I wanted to know what goes in here, it's not a 1, not a 2, it could be a 3, not a 4, not a 5, it could be a 6, not a 7, not an 8, or it could be a 9. Now this may not come out to anything, but let me check and see. This could be a 3, 6, or 9. This is not a 6, so I know it's either a 3 or a 9. I'm not going to circle, I'm not going to write 3, 9 and circle it yet, just because since it's only 1, I like to have pairs of numbers. But I know that's a 3 or a 9, I'll keep that in my mind. So now I'll go on to the middle column and see if I can find any thing here doing the same way I did the first part. 1 is right. Aha. Bottom, top. One of these two has to be a 1. It can't be that one. So the left in the middle is a 1. And now I have 1 on the right, 1 on the left. One of this middle column has to be a 1. It's not the bottom, so I know it's the top. So I will put a 1 and a 1, and I'll put a little box around it. For 2, not enough information on top, middle, there's not enough information on top, middle, or bottom. So 3, right, not enough info, not enough info. 4, there are no 4s. See, on hards, it takes a little bit more time because we're not getting much going for us here. 5 is left, right, middle. One of these is a 5. It's not the top. I know it's got to be the bottom too, so I'm going to write a 5 and a 5. And I'm going to put a little box around it, and we'll just have that there for future reference. 6 is right, left, middle. It's not the top, so 6 has to be the bottom too. Put a little box just to help me. 7 is not enough information, not enough information. Okay, 8 is left, middle, right. That has to be an 8. So I will put an 8 right here. And before I go on to 9, I can see middle, bottom, top. One of these two is an 8, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick these 8s right here for now. So when I get there, I'll already be ahead. 9 is left. Now, interestingly, this is a 9. We know the left is a 9. So one of these middle has to be a 9. It's not the bottom. So I'm going to write 9 and 9 right up here. And now we have middle, left, right. So one of these two is a 9. Now, I've just gone through this whole section and I only got 2 numbers, but I got a lot of little hints for the future. Now I'm going to go on to the right column. Left, middle, right. One of these two is a 1. It can't be the middle, so it's got to be the bottom. So there's my 1. And now 2. We have left, not enough information there, not enough information. 3. Not enough information, not enough information. 4, not enough. Now 4 is either going to be the top or the bottom here or here. I'll kind of keep that in my mind, but I'm not going to write them because they're not together. Later I'll write them in. 5, not enough information. Aha, 5 is going to be middle, bottom, or top, bottom. It's got to be in the middle, and it's not this middle one. I am going to write these down even though they're not touching. The reason I do it this way, they're in a row, so when I write them, it'll really come in handy if I find out what those other two are. It tells me a lot more information. So I'm on 6, not enough info. I know that this is a 6 or this is a 6. So I'll put a little box around them because those aren't 6s. Okay. 7, not enough information. 8. Aha! How I wrote the 6 here earlier. Now I have 8 across the bottom or down here. That tells me these two have to either be a 6 or an 8. So I'm going to erase this. I'll write in 6, 8. Put a circle around it. And 6, 8. And the nice thing about finding this pair is now I also know what these two have to be. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these two are a 4 or an... Aha! These two are a 4 or a 9. There's a 4. So that tells me that the 4 has to be out here. And if that's a 4, this has to be a 9. Now I could go back through and do that all again up and down, but I'm going to go across now just because usually I go across, up and down, across, up and down. And all the while, if little things jump out at me, like for example, this just caught my eye. I know that in this column, 1, 2, this is either a 3, not a 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is either 3, 6, or 7. If I want to, I could write a little 3, 6, 7 off to the side, and I could look and see, oops, I did it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, 3, 5, 7. These are either a 3, a 5, or a 7. So I could go back and look and see, and 3, 5, 7, aha, and it just is here, 5, 7. So this has to be a 3. I'll put the 3 in now. And the nice thing about hard puzzles is, I know that's a 3. I take my eye up here and I say, aha, that can't be a 6, or it can't be a 3, so it must be a 6. So I'll erase this and make it a 6. And if this is a 6, then this other one has to be a 3. And so you need to be opportunistic when you're solving the hard ones. You can't be rigid in always following your pattern, or it'll take you forever. So this is not a 3, and now I know what this number has to be, because there's only one choice left. It's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So this number must be a 9. And while I'm at it, I can see that this isn't a 9, so this bottom one must be a 9. And when you're solving hard puzzles, I still try to follow my pattern, but you got to take these things when they present themselves. And so now down here, that's not a 3, so that tells me this is 5 or 7, and this is 5 or 7. I'm not going to write those in yet, just because I don't want to clutter up my boxes with too much information. But now I'm going to keep going. And honestly, I don't even remember where I was. I think I was in the top, so I'm going to start there again. 1, 1, 1, 2. Not enough information. Not enough information. 3 is bottom, top, middle. One of these is a 3. Now it can't be this side. So over here I'm going to write 3, 3, and this just might come in handy later, having that information. 4, top, not enough information. I can see 4, 4, so I know that one of these two is a 4. Again, it doesn't really do anything for me, but later you've seen how those little bits of information jump right out and really help you solve the puzzle. All right, so 5, bottom, top, middle, not any help. 6, aha, here we go. Here's a 6 on top, 6 in the middle. This can't be a 6, so the bottom must be a 6. And little by little, these take a lot longer than easy puzzles, but they're more fun because it's just more interesting. 7, not the top, not enough info, not enough info. 8, no help there. 9, no help there. So now we go on to the middle row, and I see 1, 1, 1, no help. 2, no help on the 2. 3, aha. 3 cannot be these two. So 3 has to be here or here. And again, that doesn't really tell me anything, but later, if I can find what those two numbers are, it really gives me a lot of information. So 3 has to be the top 2. 3 has to be top or bottom, we don't know. We don't have enough information. So now 4. 4 is good. Look, we have top, bottom, so the middle has to be a 4. And you just keep plugging away. And now I'll remember I'm on that middle section, but something just jumped out at me. I know what these two numbers have to be, so I'm going to go ahead and write them in, and then I'll go back to going across the middle. I have 1. These have to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 2 or 7. Well, if I look over here, there's a 2 and a 7 there. So I know that the top one has to be a 2, because it can't be a 7 because of that. And this bottom one has to be a 7. So now I'll go back to going across the middle like I was. And you just keep plugging away little by little. 1, 1, 1, 2, aha, now I know that 2 has to be the top. Doesn't give me a lot of information, but I'm going to write it down because later these little numbers here are going to give me big information. Bottom, top, the middle has to be a 2. It can't be that side, so I'll write a 2 over here and a 2 over here. Okay, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. 3 is the top 2. 3 is top or bottom. Not enough information. Go on to 4. 4, 4, 4. 5. Aha, 5 is top. One of these two has to be a 5 because it can't be the top. So I'll put a little 5, and when I put them in a row like this, I draw a little loopy box. It's just how I do it. Middle, top, bottom. One of these two has to be a 5. I don't know which it is, but I'm going to write a 5 and a 5. And later that's going to come in handy. 6. No help. No help. Across. Not enough information. 7. Top 2 is all I know. It doesn't do me any good. Top or bottom. We don't have enough information on 7. 8, 8, 8. Aha. 9 is middle. 9 is bottom. 9 has to be top. And I put the 9 up here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just look up and down and see, nope, didn't give me any more information. Now I could go and check that again, but I'd rather move down for now just to speed things along. 1 is bottom, top 2, top 2. 2 is bottom, top, middle. 3 is middle and bottom. So this tells me that one of these two has to be a 3. I'll put these two little numbers here. It's not enough information to do me any good, but later it'll come in handy. 4, bottom, no information there. Aha, 4 is not the left, it's not the middle, so one of these top two has to be a 4. Still not enough information to give me any real help, but I keep plugging away. 5 is top, those two are 5. Not enough information. 6. Top 2, nope. Nope, nope. 7. Aha, top, middle, bottom. This has to be a 7. And my eye just glanced up here and I just found out, rather than keep going, since this jumped into my mind, I have to put it. 7 is right, 7 is middle, one of these two is a 7. It doesn't help me, but if I write 3, these have to be either a 3 or a 7, I'll write them here, and now you're going to see why I draw these little numbers. If this is a 3 or a 7, and this is a 3 or a 7, it can't be a 5. If that's not a 5, then this over here is a 5. And this is, when you solve the hard puzzles, you keep writing down as much info as you can, usually in pairs, and things jump out at you. Now, before I go back to this, which I was working on, I know what that answer is, so I need to fill it in. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I might as well write this 6 right now because I have the information. And I also, before I get back to going across, I know what these top two are because there's only 2 blanks. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 2 boxes have to be 4 or 9. This 9 tells me that can't be a 9, so it has to go 9, 4. And the way I think in my head, I say 94. So if I mix up, or I won't get it mixed up, but this is 9, and this is 4. Okay? I'll erase my little marks that I have here. And before I get back to going across, I also know what these 2 have to be, because there's only 2 boxes left, so they can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. They have to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 5 or 6. There's a 5. This can't be a 5, so the middle one has to be a 5. Top one has to be a 6. Now this video is going to take more than 10 minutes because you just can't solve these that fast. But if you keep plugging away, you're going to get there. Now I'm going to go back to where, I'm not going to go back to this top, middle, bottom because I see what this one has to be. There's only one blank left. Let's see what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The bottom one is a 5. So I'm going to write in the 5. I'm going to erase these two little 5s that I drew here. And I'll erase these numbers here because they're not any good anymore. And might as well erase these numbers up here too. Okay, now I'm going to go back to going across and see what I can find. 1, 1, 1, no help. 2 is middle, top, bottom, okay. 3 is bottom, middle, top, no help. 4 is bottom, middle, top. So each of these has to be a 3 or a 4. I'll erase these two 3's. I'll write 3, 4 here. And I'll write 3, 4 here. Now, these had to be, one of those has to be a 1. Well, this is a 3 or a 4. This is a 3 or a 4. So this one can't be a 1. The 1 has to go below. And now you're going to see, I think this is the first time you're going to get to see how nice this really works out. This is a 1. I come across, that tells me this can't be a 1. So this has to be an 8. And if that has to be an 8, then this top one has to be a 1. And I'll erase the little numbers I had behind. All right. And you just keep plugging away. And now oh, looky here. I put an 8, go across, that can't be an 8, so it has to be a 6. And this has to be an 8. And you keep up. And if this is an 8, you look up, that can't be an 8. So the middle one has to be an 8. And this is how these things, they can seem just impossible. And then when you finally start to get the thing to fall together, it just all happens so fast and easy. So hards can be very frustrating, but if you keep looking for pairs of numbers, you'll get there. Another thing that just popped in my head before I move on, I can see there's only 3 here. I don't know what they are, so I'm just going to see if I can quickly figure out what numbers go there. So when I look here, I see that it has to be 1. It's going to be 2, 3, or 7. Now, I know this has to be a 3 or a 7. I'm not going to write it down because it's not going to do me any good yet. 2, 3, or 7 does me no good. 2, 3, or 7 does me no good. But at least I checked to see. And you always want to, if anything pops out at you, you want to check it. Like here, there's 3 numbers here. 1, 2, this is going to be 3, 5, or 7. So 3, 5, 7. This is 3, 7. This is 3, 5. And this is 5, 7. I don't want to write those down yet. I don't like to write them down unless they're in pairs because it gets so cluttered that you get lost. Now I'm back to, I can either go up and down or I can go across. And another thing I can do, maybe just to illustrate it, instead of going back to the top, middle, bottom, or right, middle, left, I'm going to look down each of the rows and see if there's anything obvious. Here, this across the top, this and this are narrowed down to 2 numbers. I'm not sure what they are, so I'm going to look. I just know what they are. It just popped in my head. I'll show you how I know. Okay, if you look here, 1, this has to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. 2 or 9. So this is 2 or 9, and this is 2 or 9. But what popped in my head was there's a 9. So I know that if this has to be 2 or 9, it can't be a 9, so this is a 2. And this is a 9. And then I'll go back and erase my little boxes because you want to keep it fairly clean. And so in addition to the top, middle, bottom technique, you can also count across, or you can do like I did earlier and count the number of boxes. It's just, you need to just start looking and see what you can find. If I look across here, this box is missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I don't want to count across there. I might get information, but I'm not desperate yet, so why look? Here there's 1, 2, 3 choices. Let's see what they are. 1, this would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So across here, these are 2, 4, 7, 2, 4, 7, or 2, 4, 7. If I look here, aha, just got an answer. 247, 247, 247. Well, this number is not a 2 and it's not a 4. If it's not a 2 and it's not a 4, it has to be a 7. And so now that tells me that this is 2 or 4. No, it isn't. Okay, this is 2 or 4 and this is 2 or 4. But that can't be 2, so this has to be 4. And if that's a 4, this has to be 2. And that's how you just keep doing this. And like I said, I'm trying to go fast to make the video fairly short. But now I see what these two numbers have to be. So I'm going to write them down. 1, 2, 3. These have to be 4, 5, 7. These are 4 or 7. So I'm going to write 4, 7 here. And I'm going to write 4, 7 here. Now, if these are 4, 7, these have to be 1, 2. These have to be 3, 4, 5, or 9. 3, 5, or 9. Well, looky here. If these are 3, 5, or 9, there's a 3, there's a 9, so I know this is a 5. So now these aren't 3, 5, or 9, they're just 3 or 9. So, and looky here, there's a 9, that can't be a 9, so this is a 9. And if this is a 9, this is a 3. And this is how you solve hard puzzles, is you can't be so rigid just going methodically about this one, then this one, then this one, because things pop out and you have to take them or you'll be here forever. All right, now, it's looking pretty good. I'll continue going across like I said I would. There are 3 boxes here, so and I can see they're 2, 3, or 7. So let's just see. 2, 3, or 7? 2, 3, or 7. No help there. Okay. When I look across here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's too many. Or 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. I don't want to do it. This is 3 choices. Let's see what they are. And I'll erase this just to keep it clean. I don't need that anymore. So we have 1, 2. Across here is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. 3, 5, 7. That's not a 5. So this is 3 or 7. 3, 5, 7. It's not a 3, so that's a 5 or a 7. 3, 5, 7. It's not a 7, so this is a... what did I just say? 3, 5, 7. That's not a 7, so this is a 3 or 5. Not enough information. I don't feel like writing those in. It just gets confusing. All right, and these are all done. So I could do the same thing going up and down. I think I will. Aha! Looky here. I know what that is and that is. So let's see. I'll write them in. 1, 2. So these have to be 3, 4, 5. 3 or 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. I always count all the way to 9 to make sure. So again, these are 1, 2, 3, or 5. This is 3 or 5, and this is 3 or 5. Well, this one can't be a 5, so it has to be a 3. And if this is a 3, this is a 5. Now I can go back and erase these marks. And this just caught my eye. 3, that's not a 3. It has to be a 7, so this is a 3. And now that caught my eye. I know what those two are. And if I know what those two are, then I automatically know what that one is, and I automatically know what that one is. I'll show you how that works. So 1, these are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 2 or 7. Aha, not a 2. So the 2 goes over here. And if that's a 2, this is a 7. Now, since I just figured out that those are 2 and 7, I automatically know what this one is. It's the only thing that's left. 1, 2, 3. It's a 3. And since I know what this one is, there's only one thing left in this row. And so I'm going to write it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 7. It has to be. It can't be anything but a 7. And another thing I just found out is what those two are. So I'm going to go ahead and write them in. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are 2 or 6. But looky there. There's a 2. that's not a 2, this is a 2. And if that's a 2, this is a 6. And you just keep plugging away like this, little by little, and we're almost finished. In fact, all I have left is these two and these two. And I just saw this is a 7. That can't be a 7. So it must be a 4. And this must be a 7 because these are 4 or 7. And now I know what this is automatically. Let me clean that up a little bit. If this is a 4, that can't be a 4. It has to be 3 or 4, not a 4, so it's a 3. So this becomes a 3. And this has to be a 4 because they're 3 or 4. And other than cleaning up a lot of these little marks, I usually am a little neater than this, but I was trying to go fast because watching a 30-minute video would get kind of boring. So that is how you solve a hard Sudoku puzzle. Every column has 1 through 9, every row has 1 through 9, and every box has 1 through 9. It was a little bit of work, but if you find those pairs, anytime you can find two of the same thing in any box or row or column, and you write them in and circle them, yeah, that's the trick to solving these. I'll find an even harder puzzle and post it in the near future. Thanks for watching. Have fun.